Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia, also known as SG from Let the Lady Speak podcast, where we have healthy discussions about life, love, dating, and relationships while promoting self love and healing. Guys, my camera card is full and I have videos I need to edit off of there, so I can't clean it. So, you're going to get me on my podcast platform. So I hope the sound is okay. It should be, though. Um, we're going to talk about Ready to Love Season 5, Episode 10. This is a subscriber's request. I'm just going to give my thoughts and input. But first and foremost, I want to welcome you to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. If you are returning, welcome back, family. If you are just passing through, thank you for stopping by. Please consider like, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. Now, let's get into it. I am not reviewing Ready to Love this season. I'm just kind of giving commentary here and there, but this was a request. This season is so disjointed to me. I know I said this before, but I just feel like I can't get a grasp really truly on anyone. But let's get into it. So we have Camille and Cornelius going home. Well, Cornelius is going to go home, and Camille is going to, what she did, self eliminate. And I have my concerns. I know because of how Camille acts out, we really focus on Camille. But I'm wondering, what does Cornelius say to Camille behind closed doors? Like, what is this agreement? Is this an agreement that they have? I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know. It's like he plays nice guy and like he doesn't want to rock the boat. And I'm not saying he's not a good person or a nice person. I'm just saying it's this, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to upset anyone. I would just kind of go along to get along. Um and I've said it before, and I feel like that is concerning because there doesn't appear to be any strong boundaries or anything. But my question is all of that the truth, or is that just what we get to see? Is there another Cornelius behind closed doors? Because I have learned not to always pay attention to the loudest person in the room. Sometimes you have to pay attention to the one that's sitting in the corner being quiet, watching the scene. And so I'm just curious as to how this goes. But she is, it's kind of, it seems as though she's leading the way and he's just kind of going along with it. But I really don't like that he isn't honest. I don't like that he is double-minded or two-faced about things. In front of her it's kind of like, I'm going along and it's fine, but to everybody else it's like, don't get me in trouble, and we're going to see where this goes. I guess he does try to hint to her a little bit, like, we're going to take our time, slow down. But he's like, I just want him to be honest. Be honest and say to her face how you really feel and what you're really thinking, and where you really see this relationship going. But again, does he do this behind the scenes, and is he saying something different than what he says in his confession? Because in his confession it's kind of like, kind of, you know I wish I had a chance with the other ladies. Like, he's been saying it the whole time. At one point, he was even saying he was pursuing the other ladies. So his inconsistency and double-mindedness is concerning to me. Also, his lack of boundaries. I don't believe in dating people that are confused or lack boundaries. That's a recipe for disaster. Everybody's going to be in your relationship. And when he first came on the show, he said that it was the other person and he has to make better judgment and have better discernment. So really, what is it that you're looking for other than a Christian woman? What really are you looking for in a woman? Who do you want as a person? A religion, their religion is religion, but who as a person are you looking for? Cornelius? Like, if I was to talk to him, that's what I would want to know, because I need clarification, you know? Or are they both just actors here for exposure? Because I have concerns about this season. But that's my thoughts on them. But they both went home. So, Phil and Shiloh. I've said I had some concerns about Phil before, and I think I was on First Home Tubers Live, first live, and I said how, Phil may have a little player in him. I honestly think Phil is someone who may have been overweight when he was younger. That would explain him sitting by the poolside with a bunch of clothes on, and has lost the weight and kind of is like a late bloomer and has catching up to do. So now he's the ladies' man. He's learned to charm. He's, became a little more self confident. That's what he kind of reminds me of. I could be wrong, but that's what he reminds me of. And I think he's kind of that's why he can't land really, not really, because he did pick Sydney. But as far as like how he's been moving around, there is a reason why he hasn't settled down. And is he really 50? I have that question. I saw he was 50 on the own um page. And if he's 50 years old and he's still trying to figure it out, and I don't think he's ever been married. I know he has a child. That like what is the fear of commitment there? Why is there a fear of commitment there? And why are you seeking to be with someone now? And are you really seeking to be with someone now? Because he said it's because of his mom. And you can't decide to be with someone or settle down because of your mom, especially you just can't. You got to live your life for yourself. And I would really want to just suggest to someone like Phil that, because he's holding on. It seems like he's holding on to not forgiving himself for what happened, and he may be making bad decisions or rushing into decisions before. I could be wrong, but I will really want him to forgive himself for not getting married before his mom passed, for whatever those reasons are, and just kind of do the work on learning to trust and be committed and just learn to heal yourself first. Then worry about being with someone to fulfill something your mother wanted. And above all things, I'm sure your mom just wants you to be happy and healthy and with someone that you really love and that really loves you. I think he's fighting an eternal battle, and that's something he will have to really, really deal with. But above all things, please forgive yourself, because it's okay. She loves you anyway. And you're not a disappointment for it. But Shiloh is trying to like pull information out of Phil, and his indecision is his decision. He hasn't decided on you. He's not professing you. You shouldn't have to go fishing for this information and trying to pull it from him. You want him to show public displays. You want him to affirm you, and he's not doing it naturally. That means he hasn't decided. And when you see that behavior, you have to adjust accordingly, and you either need to move on or seek other options. So you're not the only one. So now Shiloh has no other connection but him, and he's been playing the fence the whole time. And she should have been doing the same thing. She should have been doing like Aisha's doing, you know? But I don't know who else will be there that Shiloh would really. I don't know. Walter may have liked her. Dante may have gotten, her and Dante may have been okay, because I think he was interested in her initially. So I don't know, but I think Shiloh should have maybe dated a little bit more. And I have another question. I want to know, if he isn't talking, if he isn't pursuing you, if you guys aren't really getting that time and attention, how do you have these feelings for him? Where are these feelings coming from? I always wonder that. So for Shiloh, I would want to know, how did you get so attached? What about him makes you care about him? Because she's like, I really care about you. She professed herself to him. But if he's so shut down and he's not giving you what you need, what is it that you're holding on to? So those are the questions I have, and I would like for her to explore that. If I was her friend, I'd tell her, or her coach. Dante and Aisha. Dante is the real MVP. And let me tell you something. Dante, baby, Dante is dangerous. Dante should come with a warning sticker. When he pulled out that table and gave that massage and the whole silk pajama situation, I was like, oh, Aisha, girl. Now, that's how you get those kids like that. I shouldn't say that. That's being stereotypical, but Dante is dangerous. I know a couple Dantes. Be careful, girl. You got to be able to be careful. Um, yeah, he's the real MVP though. Dante is the example of his actions and his words line up. Who he is intentional about, he lets them know. If he's not, he doesn't play around with them. He doesn't play with them. He said he's done all of this work on himself, and you can tell that he's done the work on himself. His actions have shown that, and that's what you want. A lot of people can say they do shadow work. They'll have crystals. They'll have the smell of patchouli. All kind of things to make you think that they are woke and holistic and whole and healthy and healing, and they're not. Not at all. Usually, all that stuff is for show. So he has been calm, cool, and collected the whole time. He's handled himself well. I love the way he handles Aisha. I love the way he not. I don't want to use the word handle. I love the way he cares for Aisha, and I love the way he tried to have a conversation with Zadia, to kind of like hold her accountable for her behavior. Like he's very gentle in the way that he handles. I'll keep saying he's gentle in the way that he speaks to and deals with the ladies. And I like that about Dante. Dante, I'm happy I didn't prejudge him, because I was going to. I'm like, oh no, 3 kids, 3 moms, no, 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 no. But I think they'll be okay. She seems to really like him. I like Aisha. I think she dates well and she carries and handles herself well. And I think he does too. I think they'll be okay because both of them already have children, and he may not want any more, or it may not be a priority for him. I can't remember if he said that he does or doesn't, but I like them too, and he really does a good job. Frank and Mumin. Um, Frank has. You guys ever notice how, like, Frank reminds me, that kind. Now I'm a Gemini, so I'm speaking on Geminis. Although Gemini men and women are different, Frank gives me that Kanye West Gemini. I don't know if it's production and like the editing, but it's like 1 minute he'll have one look on his face, and the next minute he'll have another one. He did that with Libby. And you're just like, wait a minute, what are you thinking? I watch people, I watch their behavior, I watch everything, and I'm watching Frank, and it's always like he's in a battle with himself. But Frank let Mumi know that he was interested in her, he really likes her, but he still has an interest in Sydney. Mumine says she wants to land. I wouldn't have told him I wanted to land. I would have let him know that I'm really interested in him and I liked him, but he hasn't decided on you. And I don't know if Mumin is ready for rejection if she gets rejection. If she gets rejected, I should say. Um, Mumin kind of showed us that she's a little immature these past couple episodes. The situation with Walter and her and Sabrina, like there was no reason for you to go back. You said you were leaving the piano room. You should have stayed out of the piano room and just let them have their moment, just like he let you have yours, she let you have yours. And then when Walter was there and trying to talk, she had this attitude. You have to know how to communicate, and you have to know how to manage your emotions, and just be mature in situations. And I think her behavior has been a little immature. And I know I was on First's live, and she was like, I think she's just young. But then she's like 30 something years old. So I don't know if she just hasn't been dating, she just doesn't have that experience, or what the case is. But, you know, you got to learn that problem solve and have challenging conversations in a healthy manner. Everything doesn't require an attitude or defensiveness, but we'll see what's going to happen. I still have concerns about him being hypersexual and her wanting to wait until marriage. I don't know how that's going to work out. And I really think those are the kind of things she needs to be exploring. But I don't think she's really focused on. But I don't know if Frank is the right one for her necessarily. But he says he's getting to know her. I think he likes that she's more of an anchor. Um, I think that's what he likes. And maybe he wants that anchor in the family. But, Sydney is beautiful and fun and intelligent. So I think that may be where he is torn. But he has to decide, right? So next up is Dante and Zadia, and this was a disappointing scene to watch. But I'm not gonna lie and say I haven't seen this behavior before, unfortunately. Um, Dante was coming to provide closure, which a lot of men don't do. A lot of people don't do closure. He wanted to have a conversation. He wanted to close out the situation with grace. Zadia came, and in my opinion, she was already upset. She already had her defenses up. She was already upset that, for me, I think she's upset that he chose Aisha of all people over her. Now, I could understand her saying, you could have let me know that you had someone that you were interested in. I can understand that. But I don't think she's really being accountable for her own actions. Like, you pushed him away, as you act like he didn't even exist when they first got there. He came to you and said, where the rooms? I'm trying to find a room. She didn't try to help him. She didn't act like she cared. She was like, it's on the other side of the house. People don't always realize how their behavior impacts how other people act. People think that you're supposed to accept my behavior no matter what. And that's just not how life works. And when you have someone who has done work on themselves, or they're in a certain place of life, they're not dealing with any of that. They don't care how much they like you. They don't care if they love you. It's peace over everything. And if I can't be around you and the situation isn't peaceful and mature and we can't communicate well, that is a problem. So Zadia proceeds to really step out of line. I really wish production had stepped in, because she put her finger in his face and she was completely disrespectful. And she was showing and displaying behaviors of someone who was very immature, very defensive, very jealous. And honestly, she's hurt. And I don't think the hurt has anything to do with him. I think the hurt comes from, again, an unhealed place. I know you're going to be like, Sonya, all you keep saying is people are unhealed, but there's a lot of unhealed people. There are a lot of people who aren't even aware of the level of toxicity that runs through. And I can speak from experience. I remember when I thought I was fine, like I thought I had done the work because I had been to therapy, but there were so many things I had not dealt with, and they would show up in certain ways. Like, they would show up with me being easily irritable about anything, or being on the defensive about things. I had to go and deal with the things that I wanted to deny or suppress, and some things were subconscious. I didn't even know that they were an issue. So when you have that anger or trauma that you haven't dealt with, it shows up that way. It shows up as angry, defensive, anxiety, depression, shows up all types of ways. So when you have certain behaviors, you have to check in with yourself and say, what's going on with me? Why is this happening? And I would, like for Zadia to do the same. But she didn't take responsibility for her actions, and I really think she just felt like, how dare you pick Aisha over me? Because I really thought her and Naeem were more of a couple than Dante. I'm like, she said I was going to choose you. I'm like, were you really going to choose him? Because I didn't even know that y'all were connected like that. So it's like, well, are you sure? I'm not sure that you two were really that much of an item, but maybe, Aisha said he court well over the phone, so maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. I just think that, similar with Kyra, people play games and they feel like everybody's going to play along with them, and they get upset when they don't win the game. Everyone doesn't have to do what you want them to do. Everyone has agency over themselves. And if they don't feel like they want to wait on you to decide, or they want to keep moving until they decide, that's on them. And the ladies of the show, in general, can take a lesson from how some of these guys operate. They are still gathering information until they pick the person. Like, I just knew it was going to be Phil and Shiloh. No, he was dating around, and he has decided on someone else. You know what I mean? But the ladies, a lot of times, and we do this in real life dating, we'll just pick someone, but you don't know that person well. You are ignoring red flags, and we may not be really picking a person that's really good for us. Next up, we have Walter and Sabrina. And I really feel like I don't really feel a connection with them. I think they will make great a great situationship type deal. I don't like Walter is trying to judge her a little bit. It's like, Walter, you've been saying how you've been sleeping around for over 10 years and you really couldn't commit to a relationship, but because she was stripping, like everybody has a right to their preference. But to look at her like you have to question it and you've had your past, like how would you like if someone held your past against you? That's all I'm gonna say about that. I love the fact that Sabrina said that he hasn't been consistent and she's taken note of that, you know, and she's following her gut. So I think those two are just gonna hold each other hand to make it to the end. I don't think there's really anything that's gonna happen. They may hook up. I think those are two grown people that can do grown people things, but I don't really see like a seriousness there. I don't see him really wanting to settle down. And again, who is Walter? What do we know about Walter? We don't know anything. We know his traumas, but who is he as an individual? And how has he dealt with all of his traumas? I have questions. But she's trusting her gut, and I think that's good. She should continue to trust her gut. I think she's just going to enjoy the moment and keep it moving. I think that's what she has decided, which is good. I'm happy because I misspoke and I said I thought she was hooked off the first date. And that may have happened if he was more consistent, but because he hasn't been really pursuing her, she's had time to like reevaluate the situation and just take it for what it is. That's how I view those two. Phil and Sydney. This is a lesson of if the man wants you, he's going to let you know he wants you. Phil wants Sydney. He's letting Sydney know that I want you. He almost ate her whole life up at that at that bar. Like they kissed and he was all here for it. He was into her. He opened up to her. He was vulnerable with her. We haven't seen him do that with anybody, not even Aisha. He's been protective of Aisha and he's protective of a lot of the women on the show, but he has not opened himself up to the women on the show. And I think the difference between Shiloh and is in Sydney is that Shiloh is more light and bubbly and sweet and endearing. It's not saying that Sydney isn't, but Sydney's more. I'm sorry, not saying that Shiloh isn't, but Shiloh is more about the business. Sydney is more like let's have fun, but she still gets the information that she's looking for, you know. And um, he wants to let her know I'm here for it. I'm interested in you. I want to date you. I want to see where this is gonna go. You know, and he opened up about his mom and his feelings. Like he really opened up, which is what Shiloh wants. But he didn't do it to her for her because for some reason or another, she's not considered the safe space for him. But with Sydney, he felt safe. And I think because he really wants her, he's willing to do that because he wants her. Now, she also said that he hasn't been consistent and you have to show, like, if you are really, and I love that the women are saying that, like, if you are really interested in me, pursue me versus, them like calling, doing like with Alexis did, calling and making a date and, you know, being the one that pursues. Like, I'm letting you know I'm open, I'm interested, I like you. And if you want to take this further, we can do that. But if not, I'm not going to chase you. Which, if you want a person that takes the lead, that's something you really have to establish early on. And if you notice that they aren't one to be consistent with their word and they're not planning dates and they're not being intentional on you, it's a lesson. There's a lesson in that. And you may have to walk away. You should walk away, actually, because they're saying that they're not interested, really. But you know, he said, okay, so we're going to see if Phil is going to be consistent with Sydney. But I may do a live next week as my initial reaction just based off of what happened on the next episode. But I have a long week and Friday I may be exhausted. So we'll see. But we'll see. Anyway, you know, I talked earlier about Phil. You know, Phil talked about how he was guarded and how he feels bad he didn't give his mom a grandbaby and a family and things like that. Again, I just go back to I want Phil to really work on healing those past traumas. So Phil meets with Zadia, and Zadia is going to go home. But again, Zadia comes. She's very defensive. She's very rude. She's not communicating well because communication is back and forth. She won't let Phil really talk. She's extremely, again, defensive. It's just not becoming. She won't take accountability for her actions. You know, you were wrong. Don't say you were wrong, but then name call. You know, why are you calling names? Like, that's so immature. So, if anybody ever questions why I'm calling her immature, the name calling, the behavior is very immature. That's not of a mature person. And again, I will just Zadia, find out what those walls are about. Who hurt you? Why are you afraid of being hurt again? Like, all of us are afraid of being hurt, right? But a lot of us know when you're in a good place, when you're in a healed place, you know that you may get hurt, but you're willing to put yourself out there and date. But if you come guns a blazing and your walls up, you're not ready. You're not ready. You're just gonna push everyone away. Because I think she could have really made some major connections, but you know, her behavior throughout this whole season hasn't been good, and everybody's been, you know, making comments about it. So Zadia went home. Mumin, I would implore her to seek some wise counsel because she was so defensive. Her and Walter meet up. Walter basically was like, well, Frank still likes you, so you're staying, but I'm through because that behavior at the poolside was unacceptable. That's not what he said, but I'm paraphrasing. Um, because she was very defensive, and that was childish behavior that she displayed. You know, you were out of line. That was Sabrina's time. No one was messing with his mind and all of these things that you're saying. Unless something's happening behind the scenes that we don't know. You know, you never know. So, um, and then Naeem decides to go home. And Tommy made the comment that Zadia really picked Dante. That's why she reacted that way. I think she reacted that way towards Dante, not because that was her primary pick, but she was being rejected. And she didn't like that she was being rejected, especially for Aisha, because whatever is going on between those ladies is pretty intense. So I don't think it's a matter of Naeem over Dante, but I'm happy he went home and he decided not to play any games. And, you know, he can work on his walls as well. So that's pretty much it for this episode, you guys. You know, like I said, I don't know about this season. It's kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of like disjointed. I can't really get a grasp on anything. It just seems like there's so much missing. You don't see any nurturing communication. I don't see any food being applied to these relationships, so it's kind of hard to see who is what. Like, what happened with Frank and Aisha? Like, things just kind of came and went. What happened? Who's doing the editing? So I don't know, but I will know by Wednesday if I'm going to do a live on Friday, and I will let you guys know. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I don't know if this video is going to be up Sunday. That is the goal. I've recorded a lot of videos. I need to edit them and get them up. But I'll see you around. Guess what? Don't forget to love you for who you are. Have a great evening. Take care. Bye-bye.